Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today with a little bit of a cold, so I apologize for my voice, but I have a very, very, very special guest on. Been getting so many requests to have Simple on the channel. He is a Clash Royale streamer. He is an absolute beast with one deck. Well, you're probably a beast at everything, man. I don't know, but you're a specialist to say the least. Simple, man, how you doing?
How you doing, Ash? Thank you for having me on the channel. A little bit nervous, but I'm getting into things here. You know?
Dude, I'm just a gamer nerd just like you, man. Nothing to be nervous about. This is the deck. It's the Hog Rocket deck, but you've made some adjustments. We're going to get into those adjustments on this 3.1 Hog Rocket. Interesting mini Pekka deck. And you have absolutely dominated with this deck. You were actually the first streamer to get 20 wins live in the 20-win challenge last weekend, right?
Yep, that's correct. Apparently, that's what my chat said. No one else contributed it.
Well, you were close. Let's put it that way. You got it on your, you got it right away, right on your first try. Did you?
Yeah, we got it. No, second try. We got it Wednesday on my birthday. We got it on our second try, so it's pretty fast.
Man. Well, happy belated birthday again. I know.
Thank you.
I wish you that in DMs, but not live on the channel. So anyway, let's. I want to start out with some action and kind of switch things up here. I want to face you with a deck of my own. Let you cream me to, get your confidence up a little bit, So let's go ahead and play a match. I'm going to use this deck. You guys saw this one at CCGS World Finals, and it's really become a popular meta deck now with this card especially. And it's a really strong counter deck to his deck, which is why I'm going to use it, even though he's still probably going to totally smoke me with it. All right, Simple. Let's go ahead and do this. What's your favorite arena, man?
Definitely training camp. That's definitely my favorite arena. Seriously.
All right. Let's do training camp then. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Wait. I can't do training camp, right?
You
I can
can't
do Goblin Stadium.
Oh well, the Magic Spell Valley. Spell
Valley.
Yeah.
I'm like, training camp, man. How are we gonna do that? All right.
So they actually took it out. I didn't know that.
Wait. Well, it's Arena 0 though, right? Because or is it
the
first one?
It would be the first one, I assume. That's what it was.
I guess training camp is just Goblin Stadium, right?
Let's see. Let's try it.
Let's try Goblin Stadium. What a fail on my part to start this out. Is this what you're looking for or no?
No, it's not. But
right,
I think they took it out post-patch or something like that.
Okay. All right. I think you could still do it in like the training area or whatever. But whatever. All right. Let's just do this. So you feel free to kind of. I'm gonna play. Okay. Oh, I said I'm gonna play the this. You already know the deck. I think it's the one with the Pekka 2 in the Goblin Hut.
Mm-hmm.
So feel free to kind of talk me through. This is a difficult matchup for you, right?
Yeah. Generally it is. But let's see how I do. I want to take care of the huts because I really don't like dealing with the Goblin Hut just because it has so much health. But let's see. If I get one swing, that's nice.
Yeah, you still got a swing in there. What a bummer. All right, cool. So you opt to log me. That's all right.
Let's see.
Yeah.
And the thing is, in double elixir, your deck becomes so much more difficult to deal with, just because you can throw out minor poisons and still get back to the Pekka relatively quickly.
Yeah. I'm going to play the Pekka in this lane, knowing that you might go hard on the other lane, but maybe not. I don't know. It's kind of a difficult... This is like such a tough matchup for you, huh? I really set you up here.
It's all good. Let's see. All
right. Good stop there. You love mini Pekka in this deck, obviously, right?
Yeah.
That's like your tank stopper.
Really, it's a really good card in this meta right now. Nice Mega Minion.
It's the thing about this deck. I have 3 cards that can stop you, so it's like...
Yeah, and now we're getting into double elixir. Let's see. There we go.
Ooh, nice block. Uh-oh, now I'm forced to use a counter. And my other counter.
Okay, we're getting some chip.
Sure.
Let's see.
Nice kite.
Thought I could almost pick push that, but I mean, slip by that hut. But well placed. Definitely.
Man, you're so good.
Ooh, nice log, nice log.
Can't get anything. You told me off air.
Uh-huh.
It was You told me off air that it was really tough to or that this deck is kind of different where you don't have to necessarily always protect your miner. Why is
your princess?
You're a princess against miners. At least one of us can concentrate.
At least in, let's see.
Ooh.
Well played.
Uh-oh. Man.
Wow.
All right. So I noticed that you rocketed a little bit early there.
Yeah, to try to get some chip going. Well played. We're getting a lot of chip there. Let's see. Let's see. Nice poison.
No. Uh-oh. You killed me.
Yeah, that's GG.
I can't believe you beat me with every counter in the book. Well, actually, I can believe it.
Yeah, but you played that actually really well. That mega minion that you thought you randomly dropped when you had the HUD up was actually really good. Because I think it was kind of.
If you can beat me with that deck, then you can beat me with anything, man. Congrats! that was really well done. Now, okay.
Thank you.
So now that you beat the obligatory YouTuber, let's get into the actual deck here. So tell me a little bit about let's watch your 12th win here. You just ran through a grand challenge. First off, do you ever lose grand challenges, or do you just always win?
We do lose some grand challenges. Most of my grand challenges, if not all of them, I do now live on stream. So it's a bit more of a challenge, but we win most of them. And off stream, I haven't lost GC off stream. So
dude,
that's
unbelievable.
Nice.
So you play this deck so often that you basically know every single matchup with it, right?
Basically, yeah. Yeah.
All right, so talk us through the deck in general. So you're starting out, talk maybe about common mistakes with this deck to start out with, and basically just give us an overview of like how you're playing it. And you know, we just started this first match here, and I noticed right off the bat you rocketed a princess. So it seems like you're pretty aggressive to start out.
So basically the reason why I rocket a princess is generally you see a lot of bait currently in the meta. And against bait, you're pretty okay by rocketing the princess as an opening play because this deck has a lot of good defensive options against bait. Of course, his main offense would be the barrel, and we have the log for that. We also have goblins and ice golem if he decides to go for example, a knight goblin gang. We have the ice golem and the princess to clean that up. So. You have a lot of defensive cards here that can stop a lot of the stuff that bait has to offer. So that's good.
I get you. Okay, so you're not afraid to do against bait, especially. You're not afraid to get into the rocket battle because you have so many defensive options, and you know it might come down to like who gets the chip damage or the spell cycle or the rocket cycle more specifically at the end of the match. So talk a little bit about the Hog. I mean, the Hog is your main win condition. How are you using him? When are you using him? How aggressive are you with the Hog Rider? Yeah, talk a little bit about it.
All right, so basically, before the update where Spirit Goblins got a buff and Tornado became so relevant, I would basically be okay with starting out with a Hog if I had my Princess in rotation. So basically, my Princess was like in my hand or my next card. I would be okay with starting off with a Hog just to get some damage. But over the course of playing this deck, I've noticed that basically 80 or let's say 80% of the decks I face in grand challenges at the top either incorporate Mega Knight or Tornado or some type of pretty hard counter to the Hog itself. So I don't think it's that viable anymore to start off with the Hog just like that. So I prefer to start off by cycling bats. That would be my number one play, or drop an Ice Golem. I also don't like to drop a Princess in the back because just like how we can rocket our opponent's princess, the princess can also be rocketed on our end, you know? So
Okay, so bats really is your number one play in the back.
Other than that,
yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
Other than that, I would start off with goblins at the bridge to try to get some chip damage. See if they would allow that. That would be a pretty good play on my part as well.
Okay, and what if they start out with a pump and you don't have rocket in hand? You're just gonna punish with hog in that case. So
that happens so much times in Clash Royale where your opponent starts off with a pump. You don't have rocket anywhere in rotation. What I normally do is I ice golem at the bridge, drop goblins behind the ice golem, and then I go for a hog in the middle to attack the pump.
Okay.
And then I also send out a pre-log. I always send out the pre-log, just even if they don't drop Goblin Gang or something, for example, it gets a lot of chip on the pump. So I do send out the pre-log, and if they decide to deal with the hog, like let's say they drop a Night Witch on the hog in the middle, the goblins will end up getting so much damage on the tower. And if they want to log, you know, they only have 4 elixirs, so they have to choose wisely what they're going to defend there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too, because you're either going to take down their pump in a 6-for-6 trade with the hog and the log, or you're going to, like you said, you're going to do a heck of a lot of damage to the tower if they ignore the tower and focus on your hog or something like that. It's kind of a difficult play to defend against.
Exactly.
If, you know, just to kind of turn the table, which was not something we do often here, but if you're the opponent playing against this deck, and you come in with the hog and the ice spirit, or the ice golem, excuse me, and the goblins all coming at you, like, what's the most efficient way a defender can handle that situation?
In my opinion, I would go for a log on the goblins, and then if I have any cheap counters like goblins, or you know, a lot of decks have those cheap counters, I would drop those on the hog. That would be the best way to deal with that. But if I don't have the cheap counters, I would definitely let them take my pump, because that damage, I've been on the receiving end of that. It's almost an entire tower. So
yeah, it can be unbelievable. Okay, well, I still have a bunch of questions to ask you about the deck, but I do want to do some like match reviews as well. So can I go ahead and start the one against oh boy, I can't pronounce his name, but the 9th win against the Mega Knight Hog?
All right, perfect. So I'll pause at 3.
You know the drill, man. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1, play. Yeah, so, you know, this starting hand seems really offensive. Where's your mind at here? Are you going to do the goblin move that you talked about, or?
Exactly. Before, I would start with a hog since princess is my next card, but not in this meta right now. I think tornado is too prevalent. So I start off with a hog as kind of a scouting play. You can see he drops ice golem. I'm going to drop an ice golem as well, just to, you know, cycle some cards. I'm trying to basically feel him out, try to feel what deck he's running. And I see Inferno Dragon and Goblins, and I instantly assume that it's Mega Knight. I know he's going to poison here, so I go for a hog. Probably going to drop bats or goblins, yeah. And against this deck, basically, you can get a lot of damage if you keep track of his small counters. And what I mean by the small counters, the bats. You can see I predictively placed an ice golem, because I knew he was going to drop bats right there. I've played this deck so many times that it basically becomes muscle memory. So he used bats and goblins, so both cards are out of rotation. And you can see there I go for a hog, because I know he doesn't have anything besides the Inferno Dragon to defend the hog.
That was so smart on your part.
Yeah.
So, I mean, against a deck like this, where you're mainly keeping track of the Mega Knight at this point, or
basically.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm keeping track of the small counters, and when it gets to double elixir, then I definitely try to keep track of the Mega Knight, because that's such a good stop to your hog. And you can see he gets a lot of damage there. Against this deck, there's not much you can do. Sometimes he is just gonna get a lot of damage on your tower. You can rocket the Ice Golem, Inferno Dragon, bats. Like if he comes down with a push like that, you can see I sent out a pre-log anticipating the goblins. Didn't work, but a lot of times you do catch him right there. So
that was a smart play, and it didn't really cost you that much either.
Yeah. And at this point, I'm basically going to try to focus on getting the second tower. I'm not too worried about defending the first tower, because I know it's going to take him a while before he can take that down. He has to go for another hog poison, and you know his hog has to hit. We can always rocket it. So I'm trying to get as much damage as I can on his second tower before he takes my first tower down. You can see he's going again for bats and goblins right there.
I noticed that you're playing your hog, even though you have one tower down, you're still playing your hog, not in like the pocket, you're playing it on the bridge. Is that something you always do?
No, I don't always do it. I switch it up basically because I want him to think a lot of times that I'm going to drop the hog at the top of the bridge. And then sometimes I juke my opponents out by dropping an ice golem at the top of the bridge. They'll drop a preemptive Mega Knight, and then I'll drop hog in the pocket, and then I'll get a swing like that. So.
Okay, so you just kind of switch it up, kind of like a goblin barrel or something like that.
Yeah,
where you're trying to just keep your opponent kind of guessing.
Yeah, and the thing about the pocket, it's even if you go with ice golem hog in the pocket, if he drops a Mega Knight on it at the right time, he can negate all damage that way. So since both towers are basically shooting at him right away, it can be a little bit difficult and annoying. So I always like to take it easy, make him play his cards, make him make the mistake instead of forcing the hog in the pocket and trying to get that instant damage.
That makes sense. What about the mini Pekka? I noticed that you did a really aggressive push there with a hog bats at the bridge, and then you played mini Pekka in the pocket as well. Yeah. Is that was just kind of to combat the Mega Knight?
That basically was because I knew he had to still get a lot of damage on the right lane if he wanted to even carry this into overtime. So it's for multiple reasons. Basically, it stops one of the towers. I'll let the hog tank for one tower when I send it at the top of the bridge, and I'll let the mini Pekka tank for our other tower. So that way, both towers won't target the hog. So you split the damage there off the bat right away. And if you were to drop goblins, which is a common play, they'll actually go for the mini Pekka most likely, and the mini Pekka will be able to take out one or two, and that equals more hog swings. So basically, all of that is just to get one or two more extra hog swings, basically, because he has such a good deck against the hog.
Yeah.
We need to do whatever we can to get one or two. I'm basically trying to bring his tower down to where I can cycle rockets and win the game.
How do you feel about bait matchups? I know that you didn't have one in this 12 win, but do you think bait is a difficult matchup, or is it pretty easy for you? I imagine you play it all the time.
Yeah, bait is everywhere right now. It's been everywhere from the start of the game. It's crazy. The bait, there's different type of bait matchups, and it kind of differentiates the difficulty that we can have against them. Mm-hmm. So I'll start by the Inferno Tower. The Inferno Tower bait deck is probably the easiest of the three. You have Inferno Tower, you have the Tesla version, and you also have the Tornado version. The Inferno Tower is probably the easiest of the three because if I send out a naked hog, he Inferno Towers, that's a 5-for-4 trade. And a lot of the times I'll keep sending out just naked hogs and forcing him to Inferno Tower. And that elixir advantage is going to build up eventually for me, and which will lead to more rockets being able to come out on my end. And the thing about the Inferno Tower is, since it's 5 elixir, if he decides to rocket my tower, a lot of times when you rocket their tower, a bait player wants to rocket you back just to keep up in the damage, you know? So if he rockets me back, that's 6 elixir. He's down to 4. It's going to be a little tight to get the Inferno down in the right placement. I've played so many matches where they rocket me, I go for an Ice Golem Hog. They place their Inferno Tower, but it's not in time for the hog to be distracted. So my hog gets to the tower anyway and gets a ton of damage. Or I'm able to distract their Inferno Tower with bats, and they don't have the elixir to drop, you know, a princess or something like that. So it puts pressure on them. It puts a lot of pressure on them. That 5 elixir, it's a lot.
It sounds like putting pressure on your opponent is like a big component, a big key to having success with this deck. What about against a 3 Musketeer matchup? How do you handle that? I mean, your only big spell is Rocket, and you have no Tornado either. So what is? I'm sure you have, like you said, muscle memory at this point against 3 Musketeers as well. So how are you handling split Musketeers?
I actually totally forgot about that. I should have shared a replay about Musketeers.
Do you have one handy or no?
I have one. I have one right now, actually.
All right, let's do it.
Good one too. It's against the 3 Musk Hog.
Let's do 3 Musk Hog, and then we'll. I'm gonna fast forward the one that I'm on right now.
All right.
And against the we won't do the Golem one.
All right. Perfect.
Awesome.
So You want me to do a play-by-play on this?
Yeah, but just give me 1 second because I'm finishing off in 4 times speed.
Oh, got it.
I was on. We're watching the Mega Knight Balloon one right now.
Oh yeah, that's probably my. I would think it's it's the top 3 most difficult matchups for this deck, just because the miner. If they have miner in that deck, they can basically tank for the balloon, even though you rocket it. I think that's something that needs to be fixed, to be honest. I think if you send out a rocket 6 for 5 against a balloon, it should take it out.
Okay.
But it doesn't in this game, so it's so annoying when you send out a rocket, take it down to 1 HP, and the miner basically tanks for it.
It is. Do you think the balloon is like an OP card for that reason, or is it just in that one scenario that you think there should just be a
just
slight
that
adjustment?
one scenario? Because I think the balloon is perfectly balanced, but I think you should just, I don't know, reduce its health that slither so rocket actually takes it out, because it's a negative trade for me. So
yeah, one thing they could do too is they could bear with me, this might be a stupid idea, but they could give rocket maybe a little bit extra damage so it can one-shot balloon, but then really reduce its tower damage.
Really dramatically? Wow.
I don't know. Do you think that's crazy? Because I think that, especially like, I'm not a big 2v2 player, but like some matches is just so ridiculously, it becomes a battle of spell cycle, right?
Cycling,
so you could reduce the spell cycle component of that, and rockets wouldn't be as valuable because getting value on towers wouldn't be such a thing anymore. I mean, as big as a thing. So if you remove spell damage, reduce spell damage on towers alone, I don't know. I'm just
and that's actually a legitimate point though, because if you notice, there's actually I think you did a video on this. There's actually a spell cycle deck. Can you believe that there's a spell cycle deck? So
with Tin too, I just did.
Spells are kind of insane. You just add an Ice Wizard and Knight, and you can basically defend anything.
Pretty much, right? Ice Wizard, Knight, Skeletons, and Ice Spirit are the only 4 like troop non-spell cards, and you can, like you said, you can defend anything. But hey, man, I'm ready for you on the 3 Musketeer deck. So let's go ahead and do this.
All right.
Let me know. You ready?
Yeah, I'm at 3.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So basically, I have my preferred card that I like to start off with, which is bats. So I think I start off by splitting those. And of course, I'm not going to aggress with a hog because I don't know if he has tornado. I don't want to risk that. So he drops bats. I'll drop an ice golem just to kind of cycle some cards. Let's see where he's going. I see Ice Spirit, and then I see Pump. At this point, I do assume it's a 3 Musketeer cycle deck. I don't know he has hog yet, though. So I'm going to send out a hog and kind of anticipate a minion horde or a goblin gang. I was ready with my princess here, but he goes with 3 Musketeers, which is fine by me. We get a ton of damage there. Against 3 Musketeers, in my opinion, you always want to drop the princess in the double lane Musketeers so that you can just log them and it'll basically take him out. So I drop my mini Pekka on the hog. And then I'll drop goblins on the single Musketeer to avoid taking any more damage. And yeah, so far so good. A good start.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. So is that basically your method with this deck? You'll use you'll use mini Pekka on single Musketeer lane, because oftentimes you'll be running into a battle ram as well, and then princess on the other lane.
Exactly.
And just use your bats and your goblins as needed.
Exactly, and you can see right there I dropped preemptive bats, which took out his bats and gave my princess 2 or 3 more extra shots. That's just remembering, again, with this deck, you always want to just try to remember this. If you're going to remember anything, remember the small cards that they have. Goblins, bats, skeletons, whatever, because basically a lot of times the hog won't be able to get all the damage. So your princess becomes basically a win condition, you know? You can get a lot of damage with her right there.
Wow, look at that.
The mini Pekka just bullies his way through, so
it just feels so good when the mini Pekka gets a swing off, doesn't it?
Man, it's so satisfying. It's crazy.
It is. So now you have like this game already kind of in the bag. I hesitate to say that, but because you never know with 3 Musketeer decks, but they have no big spells, which is the good thing, or the weak thing about the deck.
Exactly.
So all you have to do is defend.
And you can kind of see right there, I kind of leaked a little bit of elixir just to drop my princess, because I like when the Musketeers are a little bit further up, so that like if you deploy a troop or something, it won't get instantly killed before the Musketeers cross the bridge. I just want to make sure that the musketeers are in range of my tower before I defend them. So that's
And that
why
mini
I leave
Pekka,
a little
like,
bit of
despite
elixir.
all those goblins and stuff, the mini Pekka actually took out the musketeer. He got
Yep.
his job done there.
Yeah, perfect. So I've the Three Musketeer Hog deck is a little bit easier in my opinion because there's no miner to take out your princess, you know, so she has a field day in this matchup.
Yeah. What if there was a miner? How are you handling that? Like, how do you combat that?
Right. If there was a miner, obviously I would try to save my goblins. Goblins are the best defense against miner attacks on your princess, just because there are 3 of them, 3 units. It's a lot harder for the miner to get through. So if you drop a mini Pekka on it, maybe, you know, he can send the miner in the back and the miner will actually target the princess. So goblins are your first choice. If, for example, his minion horde is out of rotation, I don't really mind if he takes out my princess a lot of the times, because, you know, he can't really make a play with the, for example, Goblin Gang Miner, because we have Log in this deck, you know? But if he does have Minion Horde in rotation, I always focus on keeping my princess alive. And we didn't get to cover the Golden matchup, but that's kind of something similar you have to do in that deck. You have to analyze when it's really necessary to protect your princess and when it's like, okay, you can have it, right?
I gotcha. Okay.
So.
Makes sense, man. Makes sense. Well, hey, I feel like that we've gotten a really nice overview of this deck. I can't wait to go ahead and try it out a little bit. Maybe I'm going to try it on ladder, I think, because I have most of the cards max in the deck. And before I let you go, I want to maybe, if you have anything to say about, because I kind of met you through Plex Chat and then through Nova Creative. Any thoughts on either of those 2 developments in your your streaming career?
Well, basically, yeah, Plex Chat was basically my first home. Ever since I started playing Clash Royale, like going on a year now, I think, Plex Chat hosted daily tournaments, and I always thought that was, you know, I thought it was so cool that I can play with in a Clash with Ash tournament, and you know, I met a lot of cool people there on Plex Chat. So definitely, if you guys are free to play or you're trying to figure out how to get into the scene, into the community, definitely try Plex Chat. It's such a great community, a lot of nice guys there, and yeah, they host daily 1K tournaments now, so you definitely have a chance to get some cards that way as well if you're a good player.
Yeah, for sure. I think that it's. I mean, those tournaments are awesome, right? Daily 1K. I mean, even if you want to practice for an hour a day, there's no better spot to do it, you know. But yeah, on top of that, the community is just awesome there. So yeah, really cool that you kind of started out there, and now, like I said, you just recently. I don't even know if that's official yet that you joined Nova Creative. We haven't really officially announced it. Probably shouldn't have mentioned that, but either way,
okay.
Either way, you're part of the fam. So welcome aboard, man.
Thank you so much, Ash.
No problem. Well, thanks again for doing this, Simple. Really appreciate it. Really enjoyed having you on the channel.
Thank you so much, Ash. All right.
All right, take it easy, man. Guys, that is going to do it for today's video. Hope you have success with this deck. A lot of great tips there from Simple. Make sure you check out my YouTube partner and Simple's stream and Twitter information. You can find all of that in the description below. Shout out again to Bren Chong and Simple. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Shout out to all of you. And as always, take care, guys.